We now have less than 2 months of 2024 left, which is horrible. I don't know where the time went. And I still have so many books that I want to read, and we're going to go through them now. I am somebody who likes to make a lot of lists and then fully ignore those lists and do my own thing. In example, my 24 books to read in 2024. I don't even want to talk about it. I set that list at the start of this year. We are not doing well on it. I have for you today roughly 30 books that I want to read before the end of the year. Now, is it possible that I'm going to read all 30? Hypothetically, yes. Realistically, no. But I would like to read a good amount of them. We have a few different categories. We have a bunch of series that I'm in the middle of and want to finish. We have a bunch that I just want to get to. And then we have the first category, which I am going to start with, and that is everything that is currently still left on my 2024 TBR. And look, the keen-eyed amongst you will realise that yes, I have not read more than I have read. Did I say that correctly? I will put a graphic on the screen. This is a graphic that I'm using to keep a track of everything. So this is all of the books that I put on my 2024 reading list at the start of the year. You will see that I have only managed to tick off 10 of the 24 books, which is not brilliant, so we still have 14 left to read. So I'm going to go through those 14 now. My aim by making this is to kind of keep myself a little bit accountable and say specifically these 14 books need to get read by the end of the year. So these are my highest priority books. So let's start with those books and then we'll move on to everything else. First up, I actually can't believe that I haven't read this yet. Carrie, Soto is Back by Jenkins Reid. I have not read a TJR book in so long and she's yet to have a miss for me. I think she's great. I feel like this should have been a summer read, but alas, summer is gone, she's over. We can make it a fall read. I'm very excited for this. This, I think, could be really, really good. Then, a couple of books that I have a reading vlog in mind. You can probably guess what it is. We have I Fell in Love with Hope and If He Had Been With Me. I kind of wanted to do a reading sad books video. Have I filmed that video yet? No, I have not. So if you want that video, let me know and maybe it will encourage me to actually do it. And I love sad books. One thing about me is if a book makes me cry, she is basically an automatic 5 stars. And I've heard good things about both of these. I want that video to happen because I think it would be a fun /sad time. Then, I don't know why I'm doing books in 2s now, but apparently I am. I don't really know why I always band these 2 books together. They just have the same sort of book talk OG YA thing going on for me. I don't know, they just give me similar vibes. And that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson and The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I meant to read this before the TV show came out. And then I meant to read it as soon as the TV show came out. And then I meant to read it straight after it came out. And it just hasn't happened yet. And both of these books have been options so many times for videos where it's blindly unwrapping my TBR or loads of things like that where I kind of put them in being maybe I'll get it, and whatever random thing was choosing that week just never chose them. So I'm still yet to read either of them. Then kind of on the opposite, a bit of an older book. Well, when was this written? Okay, it was written in 2005. Why did I think this was written Anyway, The Book Thief. This is one that I have heard the most incredible things about. I think this is also meant to be a very sad book, but probably in a slightly different way from those two. I do know very, very little about this, but I know that I could get the audiobook for this again. So really no reason that I haven't got to it other than she's well over 500 pages. And if you know me, you know, I have big book fear. If a book is honestly over 400 pages, I'm immediately I don't know. But this has such a high average on Goodreads and I don't think I've ever heard a bad word about this book. So I really, really want to get to this. Then I recently read The Silent Patient and very much enjoyed it. We have The Maidens. I think this one is meant to be relatively different. This is meant to be way more dark academia. I think it's set at it's set at Cambridge. I have a strong feeling I said Oxford in a different video. It's set at Cambridge University and there's a secret society, I think, and a murder within that. It's ticking a lot of boxes. It's almost giving me If We Were Villains. I don't know if they're similar, but vibes. I really, really love The Silent Patient. I flew through it. I don't know if this is similar. It's also got short chapters, so love that. I am in a little bit of a thriller slump at the moment. My camera died. But we're back. I was talking about this, I don't know what I've said. I want to read this year. Hopefully that covers it. Next, these are the two books that I am probably the most scared of out of this entire list. Don't really know why, because both are actually relatively short books, but we have This Is How You Lose the Time War and Sea of Tranquility. I think I'm scared of them because I think both of them are meant to be a little bit strange and maybe difficult to follow a little bit. I've definitely heard that about this one. I've heard this is very much a trust the process kind of a book. Like, you just need to kind of go in, know that you're going to be confused. I think if I go in with that mindset, I'll be fine. And look, we are talking 197 pages. Like, this is so short. And I know that it's sapphic and it's meant to be gorgeous, and I'm very excited. I'm in a mood at the moment, and I said this in a recent video, where I've been really craving easy books. So I've really not been reaching for this or this one, because I've heard similar things about this one, that it's a thinker and you have to really like switch your brain on. And for whatever reason, and I don't really know why, but the last couple of weeks I've been very much like, I just want something really easy to digest. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's great to have books that make you think and are really deep and interesting. But you can also enjoy books that are just kind of silly and fun and you're just having a good time. There's nothing wrong with either, but I just think that's the mood I'm in at the moment. So can I see myself picking these two up anytime soon? Not necessarily, but at the same time, I really want to get through at least a good majority of this list. So maybe I'll try and get to these maybe towards like December time. They are also, I think, the two shortest books. Or, no, I'm looking at one that's shorter, but they're two of the shortest, so there's really no reason I wouldn't get to them. Then, okay, let's do the book that is actually shorter than those two, and I'm going to be straight up so honest. I'm not sure I'm getting to this anytime soon. I just haven't been in the mood. And that is Peter Pan. I have owned this edition for years and years, and I think it is gorgeous, and I love owning it. I think it's so pretty, but I've also not been in the mood. That being said, Christmas is coming up, pantomime season is coming up. Maybe that will kind of put me in the mood. I feel like Peter Pan is not festive, but it's like a classic like pantomime. So maybe it will like put me in the mood to get it. And again, this is 140 pages. I just don't know what the writing style is like. Obviously this was written a fair while ago. This was written in 2018. I don't think that's right. 1911. According to the internet. I'm not sure what the writing style is going to be like, which is kind of maybe why I'm putting it off a little bit, but I think it would be fun to finally read it. Next, oh my gosh, how many times have I said that I wanted to read this year? Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Again, similar to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I wanted to read this when, is it a film or a TV show? Something just came out and I kept seeing it everywhere and I was like, I want to watch it, but I need to read the book first. Guys, I want to get to this. I keep seeing this on lists of like, I think it's in the top Goodreads books of all time. Also, The Silent Patient was the top of that list, which was cool. I want to say A Good Girl's Guide to Murder was also on that list. I can't remember, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure this was on that list. And I just, again, I've never seen a bad thing about this, and I just think it will be so cute and fun. Again, should have read it in summer. And I went into a massive romance slump, which I am out of now, luckily. So I might just bite the bullet and have some fun summer reading in November. Then another, I feel like we have quite a lot of YA books, which is strange because I am not really a YA reader. We have The First to Die at the End, which is the sequel / prequel, actually not sure, to They Both Die at the End, which I read ages ago, like so long ago. This book is hefty. She is 550 pages. I'm pretty sure this is completely different characters, it's just similar vibes. It has just occurred to me that I have not explained the plot to a single one of these books. I'm so sorry. What a terrible booktuber. I'm not going to go back and do them all, but I will carry on with this one. So sorry. Anyway, this one is basically following a world in which you get a phone call in the morning to let you know that you're going to die that day. So everyone kind of knows the day they're going to die, and it follows, or at least the first one followed two boys on their final day, and it was just very like wholesome but kind of sad, but mostly like wholesome, heartwarming vibes. This one I think is the same concept but different people. Then we have Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Oh, I should not have started explaining plots now because I don't know the plot to this. It's something to do with a magical carnival that kind of appears once a year, I think. I don't really know. You guys know I'm not the biggest fantasy reader. I dabble in the genre every now and again, and I think this could be a fun one for winter because it's kind of like, I feel like fantasy and winter kind of go hand in hand. And finally, the last book for this section of the video, the last book of my 24 books to read in 2024. I literally can't believe I haven't got to this yet, and that is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I adore this story. I've seen the movie and the play. Well, I watched like a screening of the play. Both made me sob uncontrollably. I have no doubt that the book will do the same. I know that this is going to break my heart, but I love this story. Like, I feel so connected to this, and I can't believe I haven't gotten to this book yet. So this is 1000% getting read by the end of the year. But this is, gosh, how do I even describe this book? We're basically following Connor, who I want to say he's around 14, and his mother is basically very unwell and she is in hospital a lot for treatments. And then Connor starts getting nightmares and is like getting visited by this, I think it's like a magical tree, and it's basically, it keeps asking him to tell him this secret that Connor hasn't told anybody. And the end of this book, every time I like hear this story, the end of the book shatters my heart. But I'm so excited to see how it was actually written originally. That is all of the books that I meant to read for my 24 books to read in 2024. As I say, I've only read 10, which isn't brilliant, but we can definitely read a few more before the year is out. If I can read like 20 out of the 24, I feel like that would be decent. Maybe I'll do a video where I just try and read as many of these as possible. Would that be fun? I feel like that could be fun. All right, the next category of books we have are series that I would like to finish or at least continue by the end of the year. I'm gonna whistle stop tour them, but I feel like it's finally time. I read the first and second ones quite close together, and then I don't know, it kind of just fell off the face of the earth for me, and I forgot that I owned. I have this one and the next one. I don't have the last one yet. I need to get to this. I think it's just the sheer size of this book. Like, just comparing this to like a normal book, it is massive. Well over 500 pages, but I need to continue soon, otherwise I'm going to forget everything that happened in these books. Next, on a very similar vein, and how many times have you seen me hold up this book and say, I need to read this soon, and then not do it? Yeah. Pretty much the exact same thing. I'm scared of it because she is long, but also I need to read it soon because I am actually going to forget the plot. I think I read the first one in, I think it was like January or February. It was a long time ago. I barely remember the plot to that. At this point, I'm thinking I might even have to just reread that book in order to read this one. My hope is the first one was at least relatively simple, so I'm hoping I've retained enough of the information. I need to get to Akamath very soon. Then, a series I want to finish, and I was doing so well on this series. I read the first like 4 or 5 and I read them like 1 a month, and then again I kind of just stopped. So I want to get to the final 2 books in the Gone series, which is Fear and Light, are a YA dystopia series about a group of kids who are trapped in a dome. They start developing magical powers. It's very like horror kind of, but like not too creepy, but like monsters and magical powers. It's YA, but it doesn't read super young. I really love this series, and it's time to finally finish out this series. Then similarly, finishing out the, what was the first one called? Gilded by Marissa Meyer. This is Cursed. These are a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. It's a duology. This is the second one. I have such a gorgeous edition. Again, a little bit nervous that I've forgotten everything that happened in the first one. I remember the ending. I definitely remember the ending because the ending was insane and so dark. I don't tend to continue series immediately, but if I leave it too many months, I just never will. And I read Gilded, it's gotta be over a year ago now. I'm pretty sure that was one of the first ever books I read on my channel. Actually, I don't even think I read it in a video, I think I just had it in a wrap up. But I think it was in my first ever wrap up ever. So scroll way on back when if you want to see my thoughts on that one. But yeah, I think it's finally time we get to the second one. And last but not least, for continuing series, Heartless by Elsie Silver. I'm so excited to continue this series. This is the second book in the Chestnut Springs series, which is a small town cowboy romance. I never thought I would say that. I never in a million years thought that I would read, let alone enjoy, a cowboy romance series, and guess what? Super fun, super cute, had a good time with the first one. I think this is a lot of people's favourite one out of the series, so best believe I'm excited. Okay, last stack of books. This stack of books is just miscellaneous books I just want to read. No other reason. They're not on a list, they're not part of a series. I just want to read them. A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. I found this when I was thrifting in Edinburgh and I can't believe I've not read it yet. This is about a food critic who stabs her lover's neck with an ice pick. I think it's meant to be quite weird, female rage, kind of like horror, gore, kind of a thing. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know people who have very similar reading tastes to me tend to enjoy this, and I just think I'm gonna love it. Then a book that kind of quite recently came onto my radar. I mean, I've owned it for ages, but I've just been really in the mood for it recently, and that is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This was on my October TBR, didn't sadly get to it. I actually really wanted to read it my 24-hour readathon, which, if you haven't watched already, go check it out. I read horror and thriller books for 24 hours. I actually think it's quite a fun video, so go watch it. I had a comment that said, because I had kept talking about how scared I was of reading Carrie by Stephen King. I read that in that video, and I was like, oh, I'm so scared to read this book. And someone commented saying, Carrie's okay. I think you'll actually find that Mexican Gothic is way scarier. So, I don't know, that comment just kind of intrigued me. Despite having so many reviews on Goodreads, I've actually never seen one single person talk about this book. I'm going into it so blind. I just have like a weird feeling I'm gonna really enjoy it. I'm somehow like out of breath just from talking. That's not good. Next up, we have Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Similarly, also on my October TBR, didn't end up getting to it, but I had so many comments telling me how much you guys love this book. I had DMs telling me how much you guys love this book, comments on my videos, so it really put me in the mood for it. Even though the blurb isn't something I would be immediately drawn to, the fact that this book is so widely loved makes me excited. In this one, we're following Tova, whose husband dies, and she begins working at an aquarium, and I think she like befriends an octopus. And Tova also has a son who is missing. He vanished on a boat. And I'm pretty sure the octopus ends up like helping her figure out what happened with her son. So it's kind of like a mystery, but I get the impression from reading your guys' comments that it's more like literary fiction with a little bit of mystery, which is sort of perfect for me. So there is a good chance I could love this. This next book has been recommended in my comments more often than any other book ever on my channel, so I have to get to it. That is, of course, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. You guys love this book. I have not seen one single bad thing about this. She is lengthy, which is probably, again, why I've been avoiding it. We're talking over 500 pages. But this book is beloved, and I've never read a V.E. Schwab book, but I've heard really excellent things. And this one is following Addie LaRue, obviously, and she has made a bargain to live forever, but kind of like, I guess the cost of that deal is that she will never be remembered by anyone. So I guess she meets someone and then they forget who she is. It kind of reminds me a little bit of The Age of Adeline. They just give me similar vibes, and as I say, you guys recommend this book to me all the time. So I think is it fantasy or is it just magical realism? I don't know, but I think for the winter it will be a good option. Then the last three books are books that I got very recently. They were all in my latest haul, which again, if you haven't seen, go check it out. Cheeky little book unboxing. I got Open Water. I am so freaking excited for this book. So I've heard amazing things. It is a tiny little book. I guess it's basically a novella. It's just over 140 pages. And I want to say it's kind of a love story, but it's more focused on a situationship. It's meant to be very literary fiction. I think it will be right up my alley, just from the very little I've heard about it. And again, I'm really happy to go into this book not knowing very much. I mean, it's 140 pages. I don't want to know a whole lot. My camera died again. Who's having fun? I'm having fun. Did I finish talking about this? I don't know. This is going to be beautiful. Okay, we have two more books to get through. Can my camera not die again? We have The Writing Retreat. I read the blurb for this in my last book haul. Best believe I am now so excited and I want to pick this up immediately. We are following 5 women on a writer's retreat. Immediately love, you know I love books about writers. And they are staying at a controversial high priestess of feminist horror. They're staying at her house. And I think we're following Alex, who is struggling to complete her novel. Relatable. And then it says Alex discovers nothing she believed is true. It's giving None of This Is True by Lisa Joel, and I love that book. Listen, I will read legitimately anything if you set it at a writer's retreat. I will read a bunch of writers sitting around writing books. If that is the entire plot, if it goes nowhere, I would read that and I would probably give it 5 stars. That is how much I love reading about writers. Can I explain that? Not really, not really. It's the same reason I fell in love with Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I mean, there were many reasons I loved that book, but the initial reason was I loved just watching people work on their projects. This is getting read ASAP. And last, but most certainly not least, because she is, as of this year, one of my new favourite authors, having only read one book by her, we have the one and only Ottessa Moshfegh with Eileen. I read My Year of Rest and Relaxation this year, which she is a high contender for the best book I've read this year. I've not gone through and thought about what my favourite books of the year are. She is 1000% in my top 10, I'll tell you that now. She might be my top 1. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how the rest of the year goes. But I'm ready to read another book by her. And this one is following a woman who works at a boys' prison. And I think she kind of becomes obsessed with this new woman who starts working there. And Rebecca, the new woman, pulls her into a crime that far surpasses her own wild imagination. I've heard nothing about this. I know there's a movie, I want to say with Anne Hathaway in it. Haven't seen the movie yet. Will of course read the book first, but oh my gosh, I've just remembered another book. This is the penultimate book. The last book, because I don't own it, which is why I forgot. Of course it's Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. Of course it is. I have now read all of Sally Rooney's books this year. I read Normal People, Conversations with Friends, and Beautiful World, Where Are You? Yes, all 3 of them were 5 stars. What can I say? I love her. I love her so much. If you have been here before, you'll know I'm having a little bit of a mare with getting a hold of Intermezzo because Amazon lied to me. Amazon said that this book was coming out in paperback and hardback on the same day, and then it wasn't. They retracted that, so it's now only out in hardback. And could I just buy the hardback book? Yeah, I absolutely could. I so could. But all of my other Sally Rooney books are in paperback and I really want them all to match. So I tried to go to the library to get a copy of the hardback, but they don't have it. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I might just have to bite the bullet and get the hardback because I need to read this book. But then am I going to repurchase the paperback? I don't know. Is it that big a deal? Not really. Does it feel like a big deal to me? Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. That is my dilemma. If anyone has any thoughts on that dilemma, please let me know because it keeps me up at night. It doesn't, I'm being dramatic, but you know. Anyway, those are all the books I want to get to by the end of the year. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 26, 27, 28 plus Intermezzo. 28 books by the end of the year. Is that doable? Questionable. Maybe. Let me know which of these should be my absolute highest priority, which ones you want to see in reading vlogs. I have a few ideas, as I have kind of said throughout the video, but if you guys ever have video ideas, honestly, just let me know. But that is it for the video. Subscribe if you haven't already, like the video, all of that fun stuff. It helps me out so much, and I will catch you in the next one. I love you. Have a great day. Bye!